Skill 14 is analyzing basic polar functions. We had to choose a and b values so that each of them is greater than 10 and so that they could be the legs of a special right triangle. So I just chose a and b to be 30 because that would form, the special triangle of a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Now for part A, we had to determine the polar representation of point A, comma, negative b. And that was for me 30, comma, negative 30. So in order to find the polar representation, we first use the Pythagorean theorem. That is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and which we're solving for c. So therefore, c equals root 1800. And now the next step would be using inverse tangent. So you would do tangent inverse of negative 30 over 30 because it's opposite over adjacent, and that would equal theta. So theta equals negative pi over 4 or 7 pi over 4. Now the reason you have to do 7 pi over 4 is because it's in the fourth quadrant. And therefore, the polar form of a comma negative b, which is of 30 comma negative 30, is root 1800 comma 7 pi over 4. So one of two corrections I had to make on this one was just to write this in a better way, and that would just be 30 root times root 2, and that gives you the same answers as this. It's just simplified further. Now for part B, we had to create a function r theta so that the function is either a rose or two other words that I'm not going to try to pronounce. So I decided to create a rose function. So this is the formula that you would use to create a rose function, which is r of theta equals a times the cosine of x theta, and x could be any value that you want. So the thing is that if you have an odd value here, that's the number of petals you would have. So if I had 3 theta in this parentheses, I would have 3 petals. However, if it's an even number, you have to double the amount of petals. So that's part of my analysis down here, is that you would write 8 petals for 4 theta. And then a is just the a value from here. So instead of writing root 1800, I wrote 30 root 2 because that's the better way to write it. So that was part B, and now part C was analyzing this function. So it is a rose function with 8 petals because 4 times 2 equals 8, and that's how you double 4. And it also has a radius of 30 root 2 or root 1800. And then lastly, it's centered at the origin. It has polar symmetry, it's even. And then the second correction I had to make was to find the degrees between the petals. And so you just do 360 divided by the number of petals that you have, and that got me to 45 degrees. Ta-da!